Welcome to the Hodge Podge of Nothingness podcast, where we can talk about nothing, anything, and everything in between. With your host, Captain Kirk, and co-host, Slick Rick.
Thanks for that introduction, dude.
It was pretty good, if I do say so myself. So, as we, like we said last week, the focus of our podcast will be on whether or not smartphones are smart or just a big waste of time and extremely dumb. So I'm almost thinking we should move these chairs around so we're like talking to each other, not out there. I don't know.
No, we're talking to the cameras.
I mean, there's cameras there, everywhere. Problem is,
you just aren't comfortable in that chair.
Nah, it's not comfortable at all.
Because it's a bad chair.
It's a terrible chair.
So just get over it.
Thanks for...
Maybe next time we'll get you a better chair.
I doubt that.
Let's face it, it's a cheap podcast.
That's true.
But we are trying to make improvements weekly. We want this thing to be worth your time. So don't give up on us, even though we look and sound stupid. And we are.
We are.
But we plan on being maybe even stupider. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's a good chance
smartly.
of that happening.
I don't know. Speaking of smart.
And stupid.
I don't believe the smartphones are the way this world should be going. I believe people don't know how to see what's around them as they drive down the road. Young kids. I believe that we're missing out on human interaction and speaking to people because we're so busy typing and texting on our phones. What do you think, Rick?
I think you have a valid point. I think there are some useful things about smartphones, but I do agree that, even the worst thing in the world is you're driving down the freeway and you see someone texting on their phone while they're going 75 miles an hour. And like, what are these fools doing? And that's not good.
But they have to. Because they're addicted. They really are. I mean, they grew up texting 3,000 texts a month. And that's not an exaggeration. That's pure fact. That's an average for the youngsters these days.
Yeah, that's probably a low average even.
And so you can't drive for 15 miles without doing some texting.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a problem. Additionally, I think you're right. We have, as a society, as a world, lost some of that human interaction we used to have. When I was growing up, when you were growing up, the tail end of my high school days is when cell phones started becoming kind of popular. Everyone had one. But most of my time growing up, we didn't have cell phones. And yeah, you'd go down the hallways and you'd actually talk to people, say hi. Now, at least me, I go down the hallway, go somewhere, and I'm texting someone or looking something up on my phone.
So you're still going down the high school hallway?
Yeah.
Well, no wonder anybody's paying attention to you.
Yeah, it's messed up. But
well, when I went to high school, the only phones were either in phone booths or at your house.
Right.
So I know what you're talking about because the hallway was cool, man. Everybody was doing stuff, talking to each other.
Right.
Unless they were making out in front of lockers.
Yeah,
hopefully
that was
with
me.
someone. But I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, let's not go into that. But on the flip side, let's talk about some of the good things about smartphones for a second.
Which are?
For one, I think there are some great apps for the smartphone. In fact, I just got this. I got a Jawbone Up 3 a couple weeks ago. It's a little wristband you wear, and it tracks your heart rate, tracks how much activity you're doing during the day. This one particularly tracks your sleep. That's why I got it in the first place, just to help me sleep better and be better at going to bed early, which I'm terrible at.
Does it track how many apples you eat a day?
It has a function where if you eat an apple, you enter it in. It doesn't automatically do it, but you can't.
Because I don't believe a true app is anything without the Apple eating category.
All right. Well, that's fair, I guess.
Stupid, but I'm on the line that I believe smartphones are stupid.
I know you've mentioned that several times. Sounds like we have a visitor coming up to the studio. Could not resist. Wait, is that who we need? That's who we need. It's our lawyer friend. We are going to have our friend Jack, the lawyer, and his dog discuss their take on a smartphone. Now, we know you're not a...
Hey guys, what's going on?
Get out of here. Alright, so tell real quick, your name's Jack.
Yes, it is.
Alright, and you're a lawyer person.
One of them.
Okay, so our question is, if you're defending, we know you don't defend anyone in court, you do different law stuff, but if you were a court lawyer and you had to defend a phone such as the iPhone, would you try to get it disqualified because it was stupid, or would you say it was smart enough to be, go on trial?
I think it would be tough to argue that the iPhone would be disqualified because of a lack of mental capacity. I think overall,
But it has no feelings.
Feelings are irrelevant. I mean, it's all about, is this phone smart or not? And I think it's smart.
There's the point of the whole discussion. We don't need feelings anymore. Humans don't have feelings.
You just need to be
because
smart.
they are in love with something that has no feelings, but it's smart.
Yeah. And that's the end of our podcast.
What?
So, just kidding.
Jeez.
We've got more to say. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsor, Docky.
Check out the latest edition of Fiddler on the Roof.
Starring
Neighborhood.
Captain Kirk.
Tabernacle. Starring Captain Kirk and Slick Rick as the fiddler and the fiddle.
Waiting for that to
knocked
happen.
a dude's camera over once at the nature park. He was like all set up to take pictures. Boston went running by and he had his leash and knocked it over. The dude's like, it broke. I'm like, bummer. We keep going.
Bummer. That's too bad.
The dude was like out there. You don't have rights to have you everywhere with your little tripod iPod thing.
A big sipper.
He's a big sipper.
You probably broke like $1,000 camera.
It was Boston. The suckers broke.
And you just ran away. Now the question is, should Boston be on trial
I said,
for breaking the camera?
I'm really sorry for what my dog did. And the guy said something like, I should have seen it coming, but it happened so fast. And I'm like, well, obviously you got lots of money to buy. See you later.
Typical day. And the dog is running away.
We gotta get that leash under control.
Make up your mind,
Scotty, this is Captain Kirk. Beam me up and out of here. Things are going disastrous here.
No, you can't leave. You're the captain. Tesla. Simplicity. Or simplicity.
Well, here's what I wanted to talk about on the podcast.
You want to be our guest today?
I gotta take her to one.
You take her to one, then you come back. Take off those ridiculous boots.
Hey! I didn't come up here to be mocked.
They're better than my boots, to be fair. I've got some pretty ridiculous boots.
Speaking of ridiculous shoes.
Hey, these were free.
Well, then I guess they're fine.
That explains a whole lot.
Yeah.
I guess they ain't ridiculous then.
They're ridiculously free.
Okay. We gotta
All right.
move on because you will have to cut some stuff.
I'm gonna have to cut literally everything we talked about.
Okay, so we're starting over. Hurry, I'm freezing to death.
You got a jacket on, old man.
It's my hands.
You do. Your hands
They
get cold.
ice up. I'm so old.
I don't know what I'm gonna tell your wife when you just freeze up here. Like, well,
She calls me old icy hands anyway.
that'll make it easy to say. You remember your husband, old icy hands? Yeah. Well, he iced up real bad.
Can't go down.
I
He's iced up in the office.
don't think he's coming back down.
Go get a quart of hot water and pour it on top of me. We have got to get serious. Or do we?
No, we don't. We're never gonna be serious. Hopefully, ever.
I have serious things to talk about right
There are a
here.
few things. Mind if I see that?
Yeah, I do. No, I do mine.
Wait, what do you got on your list?
I
We're
just-
not listening. We're not talking about that stuff.
Oh,
no,
come on.
no,
Can't we
no,
talk a
no.
little bit about freedom of religion?
No. All right.
All
as
right,
much as
now
you
that
want.
that's over,
Okay, good.
because it's not a funny subject, and darn it.
Run down and get your album so we can talk about that. We've got an album of the week that we're gonna talk about.
That
Kirk-
goes, it's completely, the song on it talks about smartphones.
Yeah, so we'd like to talk about that today. Go ahead
Okay.
and grab the album for us.
Running.
Running. And while he's doing that, I'm just gonna take a sip from the big sipper here.
Running.
Captain Kirk is coming back if you can't hear him.
Rich man's world.
I hope you
running,
close that
running,
door because
running.
it's freezing.
Always running. It's a rich man's world.
Alright, let's see.
I'm
here.
back.
Alright, Captain Kirk is back. Alright, Boston.
Boston places.
There's a
There you go.
co-host, Boston. Alright, so
Incidentally named after the rock band Boston.
yeah. Alright, so tell us about the album.
This album, am I supposed to be looking the other way?
It doesn't really matter.
This album is by a rock band from the 80s called Tesla. Now, I'm estimating these guys are in their early 50s, maybe late 40s. I've seen them in concert. This is their new album. It, of course, has no hits on it because no album from an old rock and roll band gets hits. Because no radio station will play their music. They want to play the same old classic rock daily, like we're morons. That's all we want to hear. But let me tell you, this new album of Tesla's is great. It's as good as their old stuff, and the lead song is talking about how our world is out of control and there's too much technology and we're losing track of everything that matters. They've seen everything. They've gone from the long playing albums to MP3s. This first song is fantastic, talking about how he holds everything in his hand with his smartphone, but he's losing out. We're going to play that track somewhere in this podcast, or part of it, but the album is called Simplicity because he believes we need to get back to a simpler life. And I agree.
Alright, what's the name of the song?
I think it's called MP3. I'm going to check. Yep, MP3. We got to get back to simplicity. So, I mean, we're going to talk about a little bit rock and roll every podcast, not much. But we want to get you people familiar with where old-time rock and roll is headed. And it's headed to some great places, but you're never going to hear it on the radio.
You're only gonna hear it here.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
our podcast.
Because we're up to date. Are you going to be up to date?
Think about it.
You need to say why you think we shouldn't get on track and we shouldn't go back to simplicity,
Oh,
like
no.
Tesla recommends.
No, but I agree with that point. I think like I said, I agree. I think smartphones are great. There's a lot of great things. But there are some things that we're missing out when we're glued to our phones. So I agree that going back and being a little more simplistic, a little more simple in things would be wise. I think a lot of people should do that.
And unfortunately, I think it's our kids that are getting destroyed because their parents now, the young parents, have grown up with this stuff, but they didn't necessarily use it when they were little kids. Mm-hmm. But now little kids with minds that are developing this is all they're using. This is all they're doing. They don't have time to go outside and play. They aren't into sports anymore or even just watching it. And they can't drive down the road and look at the scenery. And actually, one of the recent studies has shown that the same thing that happens to a heroin mind is happening to these kids that are constantly on these little screens. And I think it's really scary. I think we've got to watch it. We want to make this podcast fun and stuff and laugh, but this isn't a laughing matter. And parents should do as I've seen some do. They have serious timeouts where the electronics are put away and they do something else. The kids do something else.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think every parent should be concerned about how much time their kids are spending on devices and take some time. Yeah, have some time, half an hour a day where they have to be off their phone, off their tablet, outside playing with other kids, playing with their siblings, getting physical activity. I think, to have a healthy lifestyle, you do have to include physical activity as part of that. So,
what if you're totally awkward and uncoordinated? Like me.
Oh boy. Well, it's tough then. I mean, that's tough.
We aren't going to talk about... Why does this keep coming up?
I don't know.
It's upsetting me, that's why.
Good. Anyways, all right, so we're now moving on to our lawyer minute of the podcast. So Jack is going to take the seat, and we're going to get the lawyer opinion on smartphones, kids, and all that.
I don't know if you can sit on that.
I don't think I can. I tried.
It might
for
make
a
it to where the balls kind of like stay there.
Yeah, just the way I like it.
Okay.
But I will not sit
Watch out for that tire.
Well placed. There's tires in
Our
the studio.
pool table, this stuff is messed up. Somebody will fix
For
this.
some reason,
We're a
the
tire
tires
store.
need to be stored up here.
Well,
during
we
the
have
winter.
to wash them and clean them and put them away.
Yeah.
It's one of them things that
At
you
least
can...
4 months.
It's something you can put off to the next day, and then all of a sudden it's like the next month. I'm sorry. Anyway, Jack is my son, and I'm really proud of him. He's technologically advanced.
Yes.
He's
like
graduated
a cyborg.
from law school, and he's a lawyer now, and he is super smart. And let's take his let's listen to his take on where smartphones are leading our society.
I'm going to have to introduce a pro-smartphone argument here. I think they open up doors, As a kid, you get a chance to interact with technology one-on-one, develop skills, learn through different apps and games. I think there's so much good out there that we've got to get these in the hands of everybody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I
and
see
what they're
that.
doing on it. I mean, boy, they can be doing something constructive or something that's going to destruct them. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think that's the smartphone's problem. That's a parenting problem.
But it's right back to where are smartphones smart or are they stupid? Because if the kids are doing the wrong things on them, they're stupid.
It's like a stupid kid.
Which means a smartphone can make a stupid kid stupider.
Yeah, I'll have to agree to that. What we really need is for Captain Kirk to get a smartphone. He's never even tried it.
But
Never
I
even
have
turned one on.
I have a touchscreen iPod, and it really bums me out because I like my classic iPod way better. So I got a really cool flip phone. It's not one of those like cyborg ones that's all big and fat and weird looking. Mine's cool, man.
You know the cyborg phones we're talking about.
Yeah.
The ones that are part human, part phone. It is not, certainly
one, no.
not one of those.
No, I guess I better show it to you. See, it's cool. It's slick. Slick Rick it's got a picture of my son from like different son 7-8 years ago. That's how long this phone has lasted me. I don't have to keep changing every 2 years with some little minor technology upgrade.
Yeah.
I waste my money in other places.
Yeah, and when you get a different son, hey, you still got the picture of old son.
Yes.
Who just disappeared.
That son is long gone, married, and not the same person anymore.
Marriage ruins the best of
Yeah,
people.
let's do a marriage episode.
We should.
Next.
It could be like, are you actually happily married? Or do you think you are?
No, you are not.
Because nobody's actually happily married.
Or is everyone happily married?
Yeah, that is the question that we're going to talk about next time.
I think we've talked about enough.
That's what I love about podcasts.
Listen, if
There's
we
no
bored
set
people
time.
silly, they're ready for the podcast to end. If they've enjoyed it so far, maybe
It's a
they'll
good time
tune
to
in
end.
next
Yeah,
time.
go out while we're on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just have a little outro, say goodbye, and
Goodbye. You know, like
Goodbye.
Three Stooges. Goodbye.
Bye,
goodbye.
my love.
Now we're into something else. We don't know what.
I have no flipping idea. Well,
Well, thanks for the invite.
I know why that didn't work.
What?
The Stooges would go, hello, hello, hello.
Oh, so it was the exact opposite of what we're doing.
hello. Huh. Well, tune in next week where we will talk about marriage.
Marriage.
Unless we have a better subject ready.
Thank you for listening to the Hodge Podge of Nothingness podcast, where we talk about nothing, anything, and everything in between.